Okay, let's dive into something that sounds incredibly simple, but our sources reveal is surprisingly complex.
Mhm.
Have you ever found yourself drinking water all day, maybe even hitting that daily target, yet you still feel kind of run down?
Yeah. Tired, maybe a bit fuzzy-headed.
Exactly. Or even still thirsty.
It's a scenario far more common than people realize, and the source material you brought for this deep dive tackles it head on. It puts forward a truly counterintuitive idea
Right.
that simply consuming a lot of water doesn't automatically mean you're effectively hydrating your body.
It challenges that basic assumption. The core premise here is fascinating and honestly a little wild, suggesting that in some cases, drinking too much water or even drinking the wrong kind of liquid, well, it can actually work against true hydration,
Mm-hmm.
potentially contributing to something called intracellular dehydration.
Intracellular.
Exactly. The key isn't just getting liquid into your body, it's about getting water inside your cells and tissues,
Yeah.
where the body's vital processes really happen. Right. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack these sources. They push back against common beliefs, like the strict 2-liter rule,
Yeah, that old chestnut.
and the idea that any liquid counts. We're going to explore what real, deep cellular hydration means and how, according to this material, you can actually achieve it.
It really makes you rethink a fundamental aspect of health. Let's get right into what the sources say, starting with this popular notion that more water is always better.
Yeah, this is a big takeaway for me. The sources suggest that taking in too much plain water can paradoxically wash away the very things your body needs: essential electrolytes, nutrients, minerals.
Yes, they describe it in terms of concentration. If you increase the volume of water significantly without increasing the concentration of these crucial micronutrients, you effectively dilute your internal environment.
Yeah.
It's like trying to add a single drop of color to a gallon of water. The color is there technically, but you won't see it. The impact is lost.
And there's a specific warning about constantly sipping water throughout the day, particularly from plastic bottles.
That's right. The sources link this habit to potentially contributing to that intracellular dehydration we mentioned.
How so?
Well, it raises an important point about the how and what of drinking. Constant dilution without the necessary mineral support can make it harder for water to actually enter the cells.
Yeah. Okay.
And the sources specifically caution about potential chemicals or microplastics from plastic bottles, suggesting they might further hinder proper cellular uptake and retention.
It really complicates the simple advice, drink more water. And the source's critique following a rigid rule like 2 liters daily, because it completely ignores everything else you consume.
Absolutely. Which leads us to another key point. What liquid isn't hydrating, even if you're drinking it?
Right. This is crucial. The sources are very clear. Sodas are not water to the body
Not at all.
because all the sugar, additives, flavorings.
Yeah.
The body processes sodas more like liquid food. Is that the idea?
That's exactly what the sources argue. If your body signals it needs water and you give it a soda, you're not only not hydrating,
You could be making things worse.
you could be increasing dehydration because your system has to expend resources processing all that refined sugar and those additives.
Wow. And the list isn't just sodas, is it?
No. The sources also mention black tea, coffee, and mate infusions, noting they can have a dehydrating effect for some people or under certain conditions.
So the focus really needs to be on water itself.
On water, yes.
Right.
But here's the catch. Not just any water.
Ah, okay. This brings us to the absolutely critical role of minerals. The sources strongly emphasize that water must contain minerals to be effectively hydrating.
This point really flips conventional thinking for many people. The sources find it, well, counterintuitive that modern recommendations often push for water without sodium.
Right.
When their material presents sodium as a key micronutrient, the body actively needs and seeks in water for proper hydration.
Which directly contradicts a lot of the advice we hear, especially around salt and blood pressure.
It does, but the sources tackle this head-on with a pretty bold claim.
Which is?
They argue that the real issue behind much hypertension isn't typically the salt or sodium in water, but rather sugar and refined carbohydrates like bread, flour products, things that convert quickly to sugar in the body.
So they're shifting the blame, essentially, from sodium to sugar.
It's a significant pivot in perspective, yes. If the primary driver of high blood pressure isn't the sodium needed for cellular function, then removing it from things like water might inadvertently hinder essential bodily processes, including hydration.
Okay, so if minerals are non-negotiable for true hydration, what are the specific ones the sources highlight? They introduce a key trio.
Yes, a key trio for managing water effectively and getting it into the tissues: sodium, potassium, and magnesium.
Sodium, potassium, magnesium.
Okay. These three minerals, according to the material, work together like a team for water management. One helps water pass into the cell, another helps retain it there, and the third sort of manages the overall process. They need each other.
And while magnesium is incredibly popular right now, widely supplemented,
Very popular.
the sources point out that taking it alone often isn't sufficient because it relies on its interaction with potassium to be fully effective, at least in the hydration process.
Exactly. Their interdependence is key. However, for potassium specifically, the sources issue a very strong caution against taking it in pill form.
Really? Why is that?
They note the significant risk of severe electrolyte imbalance. Messing with potassium levels through supplements can be dangerous and really requires precise medical supervision.
That's a serious warning. So how do the sources recommend getting enough potassium then?
They strongly advocate for obtaining it from real whole foods, like
Right.
bananas, avocados, green leafy vegetables, things like spinach or kale. Excellent, safe sources that provide potassium in a form the body can easily use, bioavailable.
Makes sense. Get it from food.
Yeah.
And for sodium.
For sodium, the sources state it should ideally be present in natural mineral water. But for those looking to maybe boost their intake via water, they suggest adding natural salts.
Like sea salt.
High-quality sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, yeah. They highlight their isotonic properties, which are beneficial for hydration, just a pinch.
Okay, bringing this all together then. What does intracellular hydration actually feel like? What's the goal?
The goal is that the water is actually getting inside your cells and tissues, where it does its vital work, rather than just flushing through your system.
Diluting things.
Diluting things and causing frequent trips to the bathroom, yeah.
That raises a great point. If you drink a glass of water and find yourself needing the restroom almost immediately,
The sources suggest that water might not be making it inside the cells effectively.
possibly because it's lacking those crucial mineral cofactors.
That's the idea presented, yes.
Yeah.
And achieving this deeper cellular hydration isn't just about what you drink. The sources explicitly link it to overall lifestyle.
How so?
Factors they mention like a poor diet, eating garbage is a phrase they use, being sedentary, chronic stress, lack of quality sleep, even insufficient contact with nature.
Really, nature contact.
Yes, they suggest these can significantly hinder your body's ability to utilize water effectively, even if you're drinking enough by volume.
So if your body's fundamental systems are out of balance because of lifestyle,
Then even the right hydration inputs can struggle to reach their target at the cellular level. It's all connected.
okay, so let's talk about the signs. What are the signs that your body might not be achieving this deep cellular hydration, even if you feel like you're drinking plenty? The sources list several, and some might surprise you.
Yeah, they do. The material points to chronic tiredness or persistent fatigue as a major indicator, just feeling drained all the time.
This one resonated with me. Irritability, difficulty managing your temper, or a tendency towards arguments.
Mm-hmm. The sources connect this to poor hydration impacting brain function and emotional regulation.
Makes sense. What else?
They also mention mental fog, that feeling of sort of pressure on the head or what feels like cognitive slowness.
Brain fog, yeah.
Linking it to inflammation potentially caused by dehydration affecting brain tissues. Neuroinflammation.
And memory issues, too. Struggling to recall names or information, even feeling disoriented or getting lost.
That's on the list. They connect blurred vision or difficulty focusing, even if you wear glasses, to the same potential issue: dehydration-induced inflammation affecting brain function.
Wow. Headaches.
Headaches, particularly those potentially related to blood flow, and tinnitus, that ringing in the ears, are also included as possible signs in the material.
And then there's a very visual sign, your skin.
Yes. The sources state that aged or dry-looking skin is a clear indicator. When the body is dehydrated, it prioritizes vital organs, right?
Right.
So the skin often shows the deficiency first. If your skin looks dry or aged, the implication is your internal organs might be even more significantly dehydrated.
That's sobering. The sources offer a simple test you can try right now, don't they?
They do. The hand pinch test.
How does it work?
Just pinch the skin on the back of your hand firmly for a second or two. If it stays elevated, forming a little peak for a few moments rather than immediately smoothing back out,
It suggests dehydration.
it's a strong suggestion of dehydration, yes. Lack of skin turgor.
Try it. It's a quick check. Okay, and alongside these, the sources also list poor sleep quality.
Right. They explain that effective cellular hydration is crucial for the body's natural detoxification and repair processes that are supposed to happen during deep sleep. If you're not hydrated properly, those processes can be impaired.
Okay. And one more, going back to exercise.
Ah, yes. If you find you have to urinate frequently while drinking water during physical activity, but you still don't feel properly quenched or hydrated.
You still feel thirsty despite drinking.
Exactly. The sources suggest that's another sign the water isn't effectively entering the cells, it's just passing through.
Wow, okay. That list is really eye-opening. If these are the signs and the underlying issues, what does the source material suggest we actually do to support deep cellular hydration? They offer some practical allies.
They do. They recommend starting your day deliberately. A simple routine like drinking, say, half to one glass of water first thing with fresh lemon juice and a pinch of sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, it's suggested to kickstart hydration effectively.
Okay, lemon and salt water in the morning. What else? Can you incorporate other things?
Yes, throughout the day. Cucumber slices added to water are mentioned simple. Add some minerals.
Nice.
Aloe vera is highlighted as a fantastic tool for managing and maintaining intracellular hydration.
You have to be careful with aloe vera, though, right?
Yes, ensure it's a version without aloin, which can be a harsh laxative. But the right kind, the inner leaf gel, can also soothe digestive linings, helpful for things like acidity, gastritis, or reflux.
Interesting. What else?
Pre-hydrated chia seeds, soaking them until they form that gel.
Yeah.
They're listed as helping to sustain and maintain intracellular hydration in important tissues, sort of like a slow-release hydration.
Yeah.
But perhaps the most emphasized practical tool in the source material is coconut water.
Ah, coconut water.
They describe it as quite spectacular, generally having no contraindications, relatively easy to find, and affordable.
And it's specifically called out for intracellular hydration.
Yes, because it naturally provides readily usable sodium, potassium, and magnesium in a balanced form. It ticks all the boxes from their perspective.
So it's like nature's electrolyte drink, basically.
That's a good way to put it. What's powerful about these suggestions is how they leverage simple natural ingredients to provide those necessary mineral cofactors that plain water might be lacking.
And circling back to an earlier point, the sources reiterate the caution about plastic bottles
Right, noting their potential to leach microplastics and chemicals.
and how this might contribute to that dilution effect without achieving the vital intracellular retention.
Exactly. So the outcome the sources describe, when you combine these hydration strategies with healthy lifestyle practices, things they call epigenetic habits.
Meaning habits that influence how your genes are expressed.
Basically, yeah. Factors like diet, exercise, stress management, sleep, things that influence your health beyond just your inherited genetics. Combine better hydration with those good habits and proper rest.
And the result?
Is a significant improvement in overall hydration, according to the sources.
And excitingly, they suggest this can lead to actual cell and tissue rejuvenation.
Yes. It's not just about feeling better day to day, it's potentially influencing the health and function of your body at a really fundamental level.
It really frames hydration as a cornerstone
Yeah.
for healthy aging and overall vitality.
Absolutely.
So, wrapping this up, the core idea from these sources is that true hydration goes far, far beyond just counting liters of water.
Definitely. It's fundamentally about the quality of that water, its mineral content, and how your body's able to manage it.
Which is deeply intertwined with your overall lifestyle and health habits.
That critical role of that sodium, potassium, and magnesium balance is a major takeaway.
Yeah.
Along with the source's practical guidance on finding these key minerals in real foods, mineral-rich water, and those natural salts.
So considering all the surprising signs of poor hydration we discussed, from fatigue and irritability to mental fog and skin appearance, and the source's provocative claim that sugar, not salt, might be the bigger player in hypertension, how might rethinking your daily drinks and habits fundamentally change how you feel?
Yeah, are you simply drinking liquid, or are you truly hydrating your cells?
What small step, based on what we've discussed today, could you maybe explore trying right now or tomorrow morning to see if it makes a difference for you?